Hello, and welcome to Wyverns and Weirdos Fathomless, the D&D podcast set in the world of Fierlor. I am your Dungeon Master, 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧, and joining me as always are Mitch, playing 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧, Jake, playing the Fishman, Joe, playing 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧, Laura, playing 𝗔𝗦𝗧, and Zoe, playing 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧. We also finally have Eddie waiting in the wings with his new character that may or may not make an appearance any day now. Let's jump into it. Where we last left off, the party, driven by the rumors and information gathered in the aftermath of the attack on the Proud Gentleman, and some words from 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧's future self given to him in a vision, making their way towards, in a broad sense, what they believe 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧's base of operation. However, before they do so, with 𝗖𝗔𝗧 being in charge, of course, they determine that the first step is research. So 𝗖𝗔𝗧 drove everyone, figuratively speaking, towards the center of town in City Hall to do said research. So, where do you want to pick up?
Well, I think where we left off, we were just out the front of City Hall. And is there like a public library that is attached to that somewhere or in the vicinity of that?
So there is the Grand Athenaeum.
Fancy name for a fancy place. 𝗖𝗧𝗧 is even more excited. Or he's not. I'm assuming he's been there just too many times.
Oh, probably.
Yeah. The understanding that I'm having with 𝗖𝗧𝗧 is that he frequents both City Hall and the Athenaeum almost as much as he used to visit the docks when he was quartermaster. So 𝗖𝗧𝗧 is almost vibrating with excitement, and he's going to just sort of take in the sights and will stop and turn to everyone else. So there is some information that we require. Normally, on any given day, I would appreciate the opportunity to do all of this research myself, but as we are pressed for time, I would greatly appreciate everyone else's support and efforts here. Perhaps divide and conquer, as they say. So it is important that we find information about the sewer network system that is in place here. And also very important to find out as much information as we can relating to the Underdark, and potentially any interactions this particular location has had with the Underdark, so we can build a map essentially in our brains on where this place could be, where the entrance could be. So does anybody have any thoughts or any particular places of interest to begin?
Fishman will raise his hand. I do, but I need to leave to get. You can read in these books by all means, but I believe I will divide myself and find a particular person of interest that has quite a bit of knowledge about everything you just said.
It's the librarian at the Athenaeum. Good choice.
No, I'm going to find out.
Ah, yes.
I said. Lorraine whispers to Janet.
It would also be of some assistance, yes.
But if I could add one thing as well. Some homework, if you will. I'm sure you're excited to get homework. Fishman says, this robed figure, perhaps we could find out more about them, what they are, who they are, where are they from.
Yes,
surely
it might
there'll be
help us.
something. He gestures towards 𝗖𝗧𝗧 and says, no, you're saying exactly the same thing I was thinking.
Yes, I think it is a very good idea. We need to find as much information we can as broadly as possible. If there is a lot of weight to these visions of yours, 𝗖𝗧𝗧, then if we can find a direct tie to 𝗖𝗔𝗧 as well, and if your visions are true, and if this is much grander than the Isles at stake, finding out who this person is, this metal man, will certainly make it a fruitful endeavor. And besides, I will say, Loren and I are very good at finding out things, so if Mr. Fishman would like to go and find our companion, Alton, I think this is a very good time to do it. After all, we're very helpful, aren't we, Loren?
We're so helpful. We're really good at what we do.
I built a library once, or a shelf anyway, so I'm pretty sure I should be pretty good at this.
It was basically a library. I saw him do it.
Yes, it was mostly even, too.
Is that just a random occurrence, just building a shelf? Is that just something that happens? Or was this...
I'm a very wealthy
No, it was
man,
a
you see,
library.
Fishman. Yes, so
Fair
I'm
enough.
sure I'll be great around books. It'll be good. Divide and conquer, as you say, yes. He kind of like mimics the sort of gesture that Neris made when he was trying to explain this to us.
Perfect. Well, Fishman, you and Alton will find out as much as you can regarding the Underdark. You and Janice will find out whatever you can about this metal intruder from the Underdark, and I will find everything else.
The right man for the job. Excellent. All right, team, let's split up. Fishman, good luck.
We'll see. And yeah, I guess if no one else has anything to cover, Fishman will leave and do his thing. He's wanting to find a rat if he can. What's the rat count in the streets?
Are you looking for a specific rat?
A rat.
Okay. Roll me a survival check.
28.
You are able to easily
That
enough
was a mistake.
find many locations that there are small infestations. A lot of them poorly kept domiciles and businesses close to the various sewer grates of the city.
He's going to kind of like scatter some ration, like the dried cookie part of the ration, on the ground, and I guess as they just absolutely swarm these crumbs, he's going to use speak with animals as we can. I'm looking for a friend, a caped rat. Are you familiar? Have you? And he'll bring out like a little bit of like the spare cloth he used to make the cape as well, and kind of let them smell it, hopefully not tear it to shreds. I'm not sure. Rats usually aren't the most tamed creatures, typically.
Smell unfamiliar.
All right, and you said you found many different places. Does he get a reaction different at any of these places? Well, that didn't go to plan. Fallback plan. Fishman will go to the location that Alton organized the rat swap, then hoping that Alton is there, because he was hoping to find to track him down essentially. But he reckons the next best place will be from here, and if he were to track them down, this would be his best shot, given that flopped. So yeah, is Alton at... Actually, I'm not even sure if that was if Fishman knew that was Alton's house.
Oh yeah, it wasn't his house, but it's like some markets, kind of like dingy, like at the outskirts of Ankathia. Yeah, I think eventually Fishman would find Alton there, kind of just sitting in like against a wall in like an alleyway behind the markets.
Right.
It's got rat on his shoulder again, like goes up on his hind legs, sniffing around, seeing Fishman. And so Alton turns over to Fishman, sees him himself. Oh, hey there. Are they gone? Is everything safe now, or how are things?
They're gone, absolutely, but I'm not sure if they'll stick around per se. I believe an open investigation is happening, but I have no reason to believe that they would question us again.
Oh, good. Well, hopefully they won't come sniffing around too close. Don't really want to get caught up with that mess.
You left quite quickly once they showed their head. Actually, you noticed them before I did.
Yeah, you get a bit of a sense for that kind of thing after a while. The
Fair
guards
enough.
they've got an air about them. They're always easy to notice from a mile away.
Yes. Are you feeling better?
He kind of gets to his feet with like a bit of effort and just sighs and was like, still pretty exhausted, but nothing's new.
You got rat. I'm sure they were lonely.
Yeah, couldn't get the little guy stay on his own for too long. I mean, he's pretty resourceful, but he gets crazy being indoors.
Well aware. Well aware. I have many scratched pieces of furniture, or I did on where I was staying. Look, what was the place that that we're all gathered again?
The tavern or the city hall?
The city hall.
City hall.
We're all gathered at City Hall. Neris is completing a research project.
He looks a little interested. Oh, I see. What is this about? Are we helping for more plans? Are we learning anything about that person who attacked us all?
And I believe we have some direction as to where we can find more answers, specifically to the man who attacked us. But
Oh, good.
it is a place and a topic close to home for you. And I mean that literally and figuratively.
I see.
Did you want to talk on the way?
For sure. All right.
Do you need anything? Are you ready to go?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. Picked up a few supplies. Just kind of looking around, seeing, if anyone's... I don't know. Well, when you're just sitting there in an alleyway, people don't tend to take much notice of you. I can kind of watch everyone, see what's happening, see if anyone's, getting attacked by any more mushroom creatures. No, I'm all good to go. Let's see.
Fair enough. Before we go, did you learn anything? People watching is very, very
Oh, all
not
right.
to mention fun.
Did Alton learn anything? What would I roll? Perception?
Yeah, it would probably be perception.
All right. Okay, that's a 14.
14.
Even if it's just gossip.
Did I get any hot goss?
Yeah, I think the 14 you probably wouldn't hear anything of particular interest, but you would hear bits and pieces of gossip. Given your kind of interests and actually, you know what, 14, and I think situational bonuses, considering your elvish perception, I would say you hear a rumor that there was some sort of elvish connection to the attack on the Proud Gentleman.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I had one that was a little weird. Some people were talking about the attack on the Proud Gentleman and everything, and they were mentioning elves being involved, which, I mean, the metal person didn't seem very elvish to me, so that's a strange one.
Yes, no. I don't believe many, if any.
No, so perhaps there's some form of mastermind behind this? Or he was spreading some rumors about someone.
There is usually truth to every rumor.
Indeed, even if it's just the intent behind the rumor.
Fishman, it does ring consistently with the ideas that you've heard of there being a connection between the sewers and a path to 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧, a drow, specifically Underdark drow settlement.
Let's walk. I believe I may have connected some dots. And I believe you will connect them quite quickly as well. And then, I guess they'll start to walk. Our attacker was seen by multiple witnesses. And the guard as well, leaving the premises and going down what I believe to be, and what they, a drain. But one in particular that led to the Underdark.
Oh, right, so the home connection to me.
You did mention it earlier, yes.
I see, and so... Oh, Elvish, they think the drows are involved then.
I believe, yes.
Huh.
Does a place come in mind in particular?
A place in the Underdark. I mean, it's a very big place.
I'm quite unfamiliar, to be honest, but I know of something, some places.
Certainly, so we're trying to... You want some information on where this attacker could have gone?
I believe we may even be planning to go there.
Oh, right.
Maybe I'm jumping the gun, but Neris is one to collect information before action. As to what that action is, we haven't come up in conversation about it, but it's where I believe things will be going. If not now, then eventually.
Yes, that makes sense. Go down there, attack him head on, for the attack that he did against us. And Alton is, looking down, thinking and looking rather tense.
Fishman will lean down to get back in their kind of field of vision. Not necessarily attack or get revenge, I believe. This is a lead. We have reasons to believe that, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Fishman was around to hear the animancy spiel, because
Yes.
Neris described it, just kept out some details.
Yes. Because it was during the travel to a city.
Yeah. We believe that the person who attacked us is aiming to break, of sorts, a seal separating gods from us.
Oh, right. Little over the top ambitious there.
Yes. Another thing. Rue. Rue was a form of animancy. Is a form of animancy. And animancy magic plays a huge role in breaking down that barrier.
So Rue was taken out because of that.
Actually, this is a lead to Rue, and that's what interests me. I'm sure others have their own leads to follow, but this seems to be a very, very large lead. And I guess, hopefully now he's got Alton's, visual attention. He'll kind of, walk in front and start walking backwards. But also, you brought up not too long ago, something that you didn't divulge earlier. You brought up that god
Aras.
And you brought up reasons of leaving her.
Yeah, they're pretty intertwined, those two.
I don't blame you if you don't want answers to why these things happened, but perhaps some form of update, some form of information, could that bring you any peace of mind as well?
Well, at this point, it doesn't really matter anymore. I mean, I've been trying to run from her. I haven't been into the Underdark for nearly 200 years, trying to go where she's less powerful. But she found me. To hell with it. I suppose I could learn more of her. I suppose I could go back. It's not going to bring her attention to me any quicker.
Alton will see a surprise, a fire in Fishman's eyes, because that was not the answer that he was expecting. And this huge smile and fists get raised up. Yes, no, yes. I like this, Alton. And he pokes Alton on the shoulder. What is going on? This is good.
I don't know, a few hundred centuries of just dealing with all that. What, hell's to it, just fucking set loose. Let's just, go down there and take on a god. Why not?
Maybe start smaller, but yes. Aim for the sky, just a way to get there rationally. Yes. Are you sure that this is okay? We will be there with you every single step of the way.
I mean,
this one included, as he points towards the cloaked figure on your shoulder.
Alton kind of goes from being very wild and fuck it, screw the consequences, and then looks at Rat and then just kind of shrinks it a little bit, oh shit, Rat will Rat be down there with me?
Unless, I mean, I'll be going as well, so I won't be able to sit.
That's true. I mean, I guess it depends where we're taking Rat. Would Aras take... Aras would absolutely target Rat, wouldn't she? I'll have a word with Rat at some point. Tibble or someone can do the little speak with animals thing. We can get Rat's opinion, maybe. See if they want to take on some people.
Maybe. But I'm sure we can work this out. Like I said, right now, we're not planning any action that I can think of. But that may come up soon.
Of course, right. Well, it's on very short notice, but I would be willing to consider going into the Underdark a little bit. I don't like to let people cross me or cross the people around me. It never leads to good things. They'll just think they can take and do more and more. Crimson Lake rules and everything. So a mushroom man has harmed us, has harmed a whole tavern load of people. And I don't know, they seem to have been involved in ruse stuff somehow. So it's definitely something I'm open to doing. Is this mushroom person working with other Neris, or are they working against each other?
I have
might
no
have to,
idea.
iron some things out.
Maybe Neris has a way with fates, I believe, and time. Maybe it's... I got him to explain it to me once. It was very complicated.
Yeah.
Maybe he might have some more answers, but to my knowledge, no, I'm not sure if there's a direct connection. If anything, there's more of a connection to Cerise than there is, or Captain Thunderbolt, I should say, than to Lucian.
I see. Well, I suppose it's useful that her navigator's here with us then.
Indeed. But we're not far off now. Do you mind if I just do something real quick?
We'll see.
Fishman is going to try and see if they can attract a bird. They can.
Just a random bird.
Random bird.
Okay, that'd be an animal handling check, unless you have a spell.
No, he has food.
Yeah, I will consider that with the DC.
My favorite spell, a treat.
17.
17. Yeah, there's like a gull comes and like lands.
Now, Fishman wouldn't make this mistake, so if this isn't the case, can we please retcon this? But is a bird considered a beast?
Yes.
Excellent. He casts beast sense on the bird. But before doing so, we'll speak with the bird and ask it to fly around, and that he will be looking through its eyes. I'm looking for the guards, and yeah, he'll cast beast sense, essentially losing his senses and getting its senses, essentially seeing through its eyes, hearing what it hears, smelling what it smells.
How long does that last for?
That's a very good question. 1 hour.
Roll me a d20. That will be a perception check. I just want to work out what kind of perception exactly this gull would have.
Alton's just like, so is the thing you're trying to do just staring really hard at a bird? Just making like sweet eye contact with a bird? What are you doing?
And I guess, is there anything different about Alton? Anything out of the ordinary? Like from their looks, or have they done their hair differently, or is Rat pulling a cool pose? Something you can point out without looking?
Damn, I don't know. Will he put his hair in a bun before to look slightly less like Alton? And Rat's probably like going around and sitting on the bun.
I guess, yeah, Fishman with his back turned away from you, but the bird looking at you, he says, that bun, I think Rat has a liking to it, as he'll point over his shoulder towards the bun.
Yeah, he's just...
And then he'll say, hold up an amount of fingers.
Holds up an amount. He holds up his middle finger.
I didn't need the spell to know you would do that, but you have one particular finger raised.
Right. So magic, you're seeing through the bird's eyes?
Yes.
Or have you possessed the bird? Okay.
Not possessed.
Very cool.
No, it's a willing spell. And on that note, Fishman will kind of like raise his hand to let the bird fly.
Yeah. Okay. So I am using for this bird's statistics the Space Mollymawk from the Spelljammer book, which is basically an albatross as written. Thought that's probably the closest bird we have to a gull. So that has a +5 to perception.
Oh, damn. Well, that's a 14 then.
Okay. Including the +5?
That's including the +5. I rolled a 9.
Okay. I think they would probably... So you're looking for the guards that were...
Yeah. Yeah, essentially the bird's just flying up and he's pinpointing locations of guards and maybe the direction that they're walking. The bird isn't describing this to Fishman. Fishman can just see that and make that up himself.
There seem to be various investigation, like small groups of guards that seem to be... The ones that seem to be investigating anything of note, particular case, seem to be the ones that are kind of looking at various sewer grates.
I guess, yeah, Fishman will gesture to Alton. What I'm doing is I'm trying to scope out guards so we can avoid them on our way to City Hall. If you'd like, I can keep this up. It's just, you will have to guide me. I cannot see exactly what's right in front of me. I can see me as he waves up to the sky, and I can see you, but say for example, if there is a tile in front of me, I will trip over.
Oh, that's a great trick, but yes, reasonable drawbacks. No, I'd be happy to guide you. He'll like link arms, I guess, and then be like talk him through where to go. But something very important I do have to ask. Can you make the birds shit on the guards?
I don't believe he can communicate with the bird now it's up there. Yeah, no, it's just... Oh, never mind, actually. He says this. He said these things. I'm looking out for the guard, the city hall, blah, blah, blah. He doesn't respond when you talk back to him. And I'm guessing after a while, Alton might get a little like, the fuck? And Fishman will be like, are you there? Hello?
Yes.
Oh, hang on. And he will drop the spell and you can see kind of vision come back behind his eyes. I know where they are, but I could not hear you, and that was not the way I want to do this. Let's go quickly before they change their positions. They're checking out a few sewer grates around, but if we go this way and around the corner, it should take us behind City Hall.
Oh, okay, yes, no, fair point. Spells got their drawbacks. Yep, let's get going. But, yes, a word. Next time you do that spell, can you please make the bird shit on the guards' heads? Be very funny.
Is that what you meant when you were waving your arms around like this and you put your fist into what looked like another fist?
Yes, I was trying to mime. I mean, you weren't listening and it would have been really funny.
Right.
The distraction as well.
I don't think that would be hard. And yeah, as they approach City Hall, I guess.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I think we'll check in with Janice and Loren first. So, your little research branch.
All right, so we get to investigate either sewers or this weird metal man.
Riveting. I love adventures Neris sends us on.
Well, ease up. He seems pretty keen about it, so, I've never seen this enthusiastic in my entire life, honestly.
Did you hear me bully him to his face even once when he was going on and on about Town Hall? Did you?
No, that's
so
true. You were being
today.
very good today, yes.
I'm being so good. I'm being really nice to that ex-dead man.
Yes, well, I suppose, yes. Do you think maybe the vision he had was related to that? What do you think about all this?
Oh, gods.
So I sort of haven't been really thinking about that hard, but now that I've got sort of a moment to breathe, that I'm not in a tavern and trying to, I don't have 20 guards all around me. If this is real, this goes much further than relation stuff.
I
don't know, I don't know, maybe don't have a family then. I would advise strongly against it, because then suddenly you start to think about all the things that can go wrong and how sort of things just keep piling up on one another. I mean, it's worth it, but...
I wasn't planning on it, big guy. Thank you. And she kind of pats him on the arm and just kind of holds just above the elbow.
He's just probably he's got his weapon on his back. He's probably even left it at the door with the check-in or something like that, and he's just kind of been leaning against one of the walls and looking over the rest of the library, and it just has been looking quite tense. But he turns to Sarah, is like, well, not much we can do about that. He just shrugs again. So, are you going to look into the sewers or into the metal man?
I think we should be looking into the metal man, because honestly, I think Neris just wasn't listening when I said Alton would have ideas, and I think he's just really excited to look up some, blueprints.
He did have a gleam in his eyes.
A gleam in his eyes? His whole body was radiating like the nerdiest little star you ever did see.
True. No, yes, no. And Janice has turned to regard over to wherever Neris is either visible or has run off to, and just I'm glad he's having a good time. All right, so we'll look into the metal man. Let's go and have a look around. It has been a while since I've been in a library.
Oh, look, same. Normally, your friends do this for me.
Well, no harm in trying. You can have a look around. Otherwise, you can go and he looks over at perhaps presumably one of the female librarians, and then just like looks back at Lorraine. Otherwise, you can go and get her to help you.
Okay, now I don't need you doing shit like that when we're on a mission, buddy.
It's a bit of fun.
Fun for you. And she kind of pokes him in the middle of the chest.
All right. Let's see what we can do. And sort of like just cracks his knuckles out and then lumbers over to the nearest section and starts to have an investigate. We do a roll for that, Darby, I guess?
So,
Yes.
so the two of you doing your research, I would like, and it's still his choice, but you'll get different things depending on what you roll, either history or religion.
Oh.
Well, that's equal for me. But yeah, I will say, like, regardless of whatever I roll, Janice is quite focused on this. So he does seem to have, at least, even if I roll the 1, he does seem to have quite a familiarity with, like, libraries, but perhaps not this kind of library.
Loren is kind of wandering around with the look of someone who, like, used to do this all the time, but is out of practice. And she's just trying to find, like, she's looking for information about the Metal Man, but she is also looking for info about just Conrad in general, as she has a personal interest in that.
And I rolled a 14 for Janice's sum total of investigations.
So were you making a history or a religion check?
History.
History. Okay.
It's both, but he would be focused on history, I guess.
Just because it's going to impact what you get for the fort, whether it's more of a historical bent or a more religious bent. So, so you already know from discussions, which would have helped point you in the right direction in your research, that 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧 was a co-conspirator, shall we say, of Conrad's, prior to and immediately following his ascension. Many say that he was instrumental in aiding the ascension and providing a lot of dark, arcane knowledge that, of course, aided in the process. Historically, he tends to disappear a lot from records. He is very rarely placed in a position where he actually makes it into the history books. And it would seem that he does a very good job of keeping himself to the shadows. However, in this research, you do notice that there does seem to be a pattern of late, particularly within the past 10 to 15 years, of sightings being more and more frequent. And those sightings have been tentatively linked to places where the barriers between planes were weakened around about 16 years ago, when an entity known as 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧 was brought back into the material plane for a short.
Interesting. And while like Janice is sort of like reading this like information, he's got this books like strewn out around him. He's made himself a little space in this library on his own. Especially when he reads that like the sightings become more and more frequent, and like there's, you know, he's obviously able to find more papers that include like mentions of someone that could match 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧's description. He just sort of frowns more and more, and he's like, Like he almost says to himself, like, I know from experience, a man who doesn't want to be found, letting himself be found, is a very dangerous thing indeed. And he continues to read and carefully write notes. He's not very neat at writing his handshakes, but yeah.
Loren, what was your...
So I did religion.
Yes.
She actually has proficiency in that. Just related to, you know, research she has done in the past about who and what she is, and that is a 23.
So, so Conrad's ascension took place around what was it now? It was about
25-ish years ago?
Yeah, 25 to 35-ish years ago. I can't quite remember the calculation.
It was 25, I believe.
Yeah, and because there are several figures associated in various ways with that ascension. So you got a 24, was it?
23.
23. Okay, so there are various figures associated with it. There are the Fellowship of Halloween, who opposed Conrad during his ascension and led to his banishment from the material plane. There were Conrad's original adventuring party, as far as records can tell. Those Sam and Ashram Turek, Eric Wolfsbane, Cornelius Corneliusson, that were key figures in the fall and rise of Halloran and New Halloran. You would also have come across some talk of a strange entity that has been around since Conrad's transformation, shall we say, into a lich, some 50 odd years prior to his divine ascension. Shortly after that transformation, an entity that has come to be known as the 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧 has roamed the realms of particularly Erethold, seemingly aimlessly. Gilly's particularly more aimless since...
So Loren reads over all of this as she's flicking through all these different books. She's, much like Janice, she's making notes on like the back half of a little notebook that she carries in one of her pockets in shorthand primordial. And she keeps seeing these mentions of the 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧. And there's probably in her readings about as many mentions of him as there are of 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧. And she's like, okay, is it possible for me to push further to see if I can find out any more information about the 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧 and if he's good or bad?
I would say for extra time taken, I will allow further research at a disadvantage.
Okay, another religion?
Yes.
That's a 10 and a 9, so that amounts to a 13. 13.
It is hard to gauge any sort of morality on the 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧 from the texts that are available to you, though it's not low. So I will give you that they seem to be some form of undead from all reports.
Okay. So she does all this, and she ends up kind of winding her way back to where Janice is probably, bent over a book dramatically, making his little notes. And she kind of wanders over with an open book in hand and gets right next to him and just slams it closed right next to his face.
Okay, all right.
What have you found out?
Oh, a fair bit. Clearly not as much as you, since you've come over to create some little ruckus.
I'm always creating a ruckus.
That's true. Maybe you just want the librarian to shush at you. Well, for me, what I found out was not a great deal, although some worrying traits in that this individual, 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧, I'm finding, he points to lots of different things he's got straight out, I'm finding more instances of him being present over the past few years. Sightings are more frequent, and there seems to be some sort of tie with the... Do you remember that god event? It was about 15, 16 years ago now.
Oh God, yeah, I would have been like, what, 20, 19?
Yeah, well, same. Well, apparently he's been seen more frequently around those sorts of areas where the rifts were, you know.
Oh. Where the barriers weak.
Yes, it was a bit of a hullabaloo back where I was back then. So, well, I was about to set out, so it was an interesting time. But, so, yes, very strange. Lots of dark arcane sort of magic and things like that, which seems to match with the whole flesh-bursting zombie thing that happened last night.
True.
So that's mainly the sort of things I've found, but I'm sure if I show it to someone very intelligent like 𝗖𝗧𝗦𝗧, it will be fine. He'll be able to surmise something else. But how are you going?
Well, couldn't find much about 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧. I did find a big list of everyone who ever opposed Conrad, which is probably useful in some way.
Understandable. I haven't much paid too much attention to that, but it is interesting. More to becoming a god. And not that long ago, really.
No, you and I were alive.
Well, interesting.
Yeah, but yeah, there's been a lot of people, just his old adventuring party, because back when he was a human, this other group of people who locked him away, another person who went on to be one of those, the people who fought that god guy. One of those fought him as well. She just can't seem to catch a break, apparently.
Oh, no.
Ania? I don't know, I've only read it.
Oh, yes, in the mainland. Big name in the mainland.
Big name.
I've, of course, travelled across the mainland before, you know, so I know all about that sort of stuff.
Oh, of course, when you were travelling that princess all across.
Yeah, precisely. Was paid with but a kiss.
Oh.
She wanted more, but, you know, I was a good man, so I kept her chaste.
Well, of course, you were a runaway prince yourself, so
precisely
had to keep things easy.
Yes, but enough about me. So that's the sort of the main stuff you found then?
Well, there's something interesting. There's another guy I think we either have to worry about or who we need to get on our side.
Who's that?
Some fella called 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧. Not a lot of records of him, but he's some sort of undead who wanders around. And he seems sort of aimless ever since God Boy was locked away. So potentially, as an undead, he's either one of 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧's little pals who escaped and is just running around free as a little bird, or he's got information, something else we could work with.
Well, I think in summary, I just hope that all of this vision that 𝗖𝗧𝗦𝗧 had is not true. But for now, we have to act like it is. Because if it is, then we can't afford to do the opposite. My brain's starting to get crossed. Well, I guess we'll see. We'll find out what 𝗖𝗧𝗧 has found out.
Speaking of 𝗖𝗧𝗧 and what he's found out, 𝗖𝗧𝗧, your research, what are you seeking out?
𝗖𝗧𝗧 is trying to find, primarily the reason why he's at City Hall and not the library, is because he's trying to find information on the sewer system, the sewer network underneath the city, whether that is a blueprint designs or an account of when it was built, any issues that they had when they were constructing it, whether they stumbled into areas that they then barricaded up or what. But he is going to, just before that, he is going to take a little bit of time just to sort of wander around, look at the place, because he hasn't been there in a little while. He's been very caught up in his own research and it's taken him away.
So you take in the sites before going through to look at records. So let's get a history check on that one.
That is an 18.
18. Okay, so from 18, you managed to find easily enough some records. You don't know how up to date they are, but you find some old blueprints of the city's sewer system. You also make note of as you're going through, there's a strange little note you see of that. What languages do you speak?
Couple. So Celestial, Draconic, Dwarvish, Aquan recently, Elvish, Infernal, Primordial, Sign Language, Common.
So there's a strange note that contains a strange it's very roughly scrawled copy of some text that is supposedly written. Some recent the note makes a note of some recent graffiti within a section of the sewers, which reads in Aquan, hail to 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧, King of the Frogs.
In Neris's recent Aquan studies, did he make was there any mention or information regarding the King of the Frogs?
Nope.
Okay. Cool. I love it.
Yeah. You also are made aware of the location of a couple of different pathways that access the Underdark. Curiously, one of them actually is in a little outpost station used by the Waste Cleaners Guild. Within the sewer system, there is a grate that has access down into the Underdark. It's rarely used and is generally sealed up, but it's there. And yeah, it's not, that access house is not too far from where the graffiti singing the praises of 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧.
Well, this is only good news. There wouldn't really be anything else. He'd also like to look on, like, the history of, like, the creation of this city. Just see if there were any sort of mentions of, like, barriers that have been put in place for different planes. Just to see if this place has any sort of cultural significance. It's more of like a cursory look.
Yeah, there's nothing of that nature. Yeah, I don't think for a 14 there's probably not much else that can be gleaned. That's quite a bit.
Okay. Well, Neris is very happy, very content. He's found what he is searching for, and only hopes that his companions have found what they are searching for. So he will probably just take a quick note of everything that he found, including the two locations for the entrances to the Underdark and the graffiti, and just a little note to himself to research anything relating to 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧, and he will exit the building.
So I would say, I'm not sure what order you would each kind of gather back at whatever meeting point, I assume just outside of City Hall that you would have designated. But eventually you will gather back to compare notes. And who, in your collective opinions, who do you think would be first back?
Well, I guess like Alton would. Why did I say Alton? Well, I guess like Janice will probably be out there as soon as he's sort of finished or thinks enough time has passed by. He's very interested and invested in this matter, but like he's also not that excited about being in a library for that long. So he would sort of just be like waiting out promptly for everyone to sort of converge there.
Loren would take an extra 5 to 10 minutes in the library. Fantasy control effing everyone in the party's names on locals' births, deaths, and marriages in like the little record at the library, just to see if she can get dirt on anyone, but like probably doesn't find anything.
A quick history check on that one.
18.
Surely you find Fishman's whole hierarchy.
Yeah, it's all cracked now.
If Loren didn't already know, Tibble's middle name is Eustace.
Yeah, I think that would be in the records. I don't think anyone's necessarily local to Ankathir, so at the most it would be like immigration records. So you'd maybe get like birthdays for everyone except for the Fishman, because he has in his current state no known specific birthday.
Okay. I would like everyone to message me your character's birthday so Loren can judge you based on your star sign. And then once she has done that, she will be wandering out to join Janice.
And you would probably also know everyone's continent of origin.
Oh, okay. I will say probably not Janice's, because I know his life is entirely fake at this point. Up to 10 years ago, that has been established in canon. But yeah, she takes a lot of note of that.
You find something on records, you don't believe it for a second.
Yeah,
No.
I don't think Alton's would be accurate either.
No, Janice says he's
place.
from, the sea. Is like very
Is
flowery.
from fuck you, that's what.
Yeah, exactly.
And you.
Yeah. Cool. She makes notes of that and then, goes and converges with Janice, reading over her little notebook, feeling very proud.
Neris, would you take an excessive amount of time researching, thus leading Fishman and Alton to be the next back, or would you put a reasonable amount of research time in and be next?
The Neris has taken a little bit of time for sightseeing and like looking at the architecture of the building. The vast majority of the time is spent researching, because that is the job that he has given himself to do, and he will do it perfectly because that's the only thing he's good at.
So Fishman and Alton then would presumably be next back at the rendezvous point, where the two of you would see Janice and Lorraine.
And Janice, things I hear, we've learned some strange things.
Yes, well, it never rains but it pours. Welcome back, Alton.
Absolutely. Good to be back.
Fishman.
Looking very shady and gloomy as always.
I do my best.
A quick question for Fishman. Would you have mentioned the specific city that is nearby within the Underdark?
We would have, but I did not because I forgot it and I was too embarrassed to try and say it on pod. But it was...
Kaeth-Barund.
Kaeth-Barund. But if we are out in the open, Fishman will not say it now. But if we were, say, still in an alleyway, perhaps, yes.
Okay. Alton,
But
given that, a history check.
There it is. Good old +1. 6.
Actually, sorry, I think for reasons that might become apparent, if you do succeed in this, roll that with advantage.
Advantage? 7.
So Kaeth-Barund rings a bell. You cannot recall why.
Okay. Rings a bell, but it's been a long time. Might not even be the same place anymore.
Interesting.
So, had a fun little study party here at the library.
It's just like school, which I definitely went to after a certain age.
Yes, no, quite good. We made it to fish Neris out. He was very excited, and I'm not sure where he's gotten to.
No, we really should have put a bungee cord on him.
Somewhere within
Janice-
the library.
Or the town hall.
One of those places.
You weren't
He-
watching him.
Well,
You left him to his own devices and
Fishman,
just let him go.
I can't imagine
He
him all the
went-
time.
we
We'll never
can't
see him again.
We can't shackle him to us, Fishman. He said he was going to be nearby, and then he vanished into the void, the width of a paper cut. So
Oh, I certainly hope he's not making his way back right now.
I
And says
certainly
to
hope
himself,
he's not standing directly behind us right this moment. That would sure be embarrassing, wouldn't it, Janice?
It sure would be.
Hey, Darby.
Yeah.
What are the chances Neris could be standing right behind everyone?
Just roll me a d20.
It's a what? Neris has gotten lost.
Yeah. You are
He's lost in the books.
deep in the weeds of research.
Like, all right, spiritually, this punchline has to happen, and then nothing.
Should we go and get him? Should we go find him?
Yeah, I think we should. I think we need to
Maybe one of the
extract him with a
buildings.
crowbar.
Can you get medical supplies at the ready, please?
Always, for sure.
Francis is gonna walk over to, where did Neris go off to? The city hall?
It was a city hall, yes.
His last side there. He walks over to the couple of steps over to the ducks' head and he's like, Neris! Well, a lot of people turn around and glare at him, most likely.
The librarian is coming at you with like a dagger.
Yeah.
How dare you make noise in this
He
establishment?
just grins at her.
Probably from like a hallway, like halfway down the way, you just see like a pile of paperwork and scrolls just go up into the air. As if you've either startled someone who's in the middle of study or was completely buried by books. And after a little bit, Neris does come like bouncing along the hallways, carrying like a couple of bits of paper and an extra book that hopefully he's managed to check out.
Ah, there you are. Everyone else is waiting at the front for you.
Oh, you have all found information very rapidly.
Oh, well, it's been quite a few hours. How was your sewage explorations?
Oh, has it? Oh,
Yes,
no,
it
it's
has
happened
been.
again. Yes, no, I have.
You look up at the sky and make note that it is quite late in the afternoon at this point.
Oh dear.
No worry
Okay.
about that now. Come with.
Right, yes, of course.
You okay carrying all of that?
It is perfect. It's okay. What is it still today?
Yeah, I think so.
Perfect. Don't look into that. Okay, let's go. Neris will follow everyone out, just kind of like
Rejoin the group.
blinking a little bit at the light as we come outside.
Here he is.
Oh, you made it.
Alton was like kind of looking longingly into the library, like, and then he's just like, oh,
Oh, did you get lost in there, Neris? Made it out alive?
I
Got an awful
did
lot of books there.
not get lost in a library. What do you mean? That is not relevant. So we all found information. Yes?
Hi.
Yes, and Fishman found Alton.
Perfect. Also, hi.
Yes, yes. Hey.
You ducked off rather rapidly. I assume you are okay.
Yes, yes. Oh, totally fine. Just laying a little low. I collected rat, had to feed him.
Well, I'll start. So I found some information on the sewers. Very interesting. Construction actually happened. There was only one sort of aqueduct that ran through the center of the city, and then it sort of branched off as the city was expanded. And it's incredible to see this sort of spider network as it.
You have 5 minutes before we all collectively lose our attention span. Do you want to speed this up a little?
Yes, right. Yes, but. Well, there was one section as we expanded. Do you know the? Well, you probably wouldn't. There is a waste collection guild network, and they know so it's not important. There is a grate nearby in that particular section of the sewers, which leads directly to the Underdark.
There it is. Perfect.
Ah.
Yes. Also, does anyone know about a king of frog?
Like the ruler of Navora.
Like a bunch of frogs, but there is a king called Galok Kenar, I think it was. They are sewer frogs, I presume, that are worshipping him. So I'm sure it will not be. It is a non-issue, and we will not run into them. But just curious if anyone had heard of a king of frog.
No, although we might run into a really big frog then, if that's involved with the sewers.
Potentially,
Leave for to really.
Should we take a gift if we are passing through that territory? I
What do you
don't
get
know
a
what
frog?
frogs like. Well, my area of expertise is a toad, so I don't know anything about frog, unfortunately.
True.
Maybe.
Very different.
I mean, if they live in a sewer, they're probably not very picky.
Do we take them a package of refuse?
Absolutely not.
I don't think you'll have any with giant frogs down there. Should be fine. I mean,
Okay.
And
I've
if we
checked
do
out the
Janice, if
Also,
we do,
also with this extra information, I'll let you make
Would I?
Mm-hmm.
another roll.
Okay. It's a 5.
Still not ringing a bell, other
Oh,
than a
boy.
vague bell.
Oh boy.
you know, I've actually been to those sewers before. Actually, I know where all the drow. I know where they all are, all the places to get down to the Underdark.
Oh.
Could have asked me. I mean, people kind of just like. I didn't actually intend to find them to begin with. People were just, I was just chatting with people, and then they're like, "Oh, well, did you like come up from there? Like, did you come out of this grate? Is that what you're doing here?" And I'm like, "Don't just assume I've lived here for a very long time." And then I'm just like, "Well, I guess I may as well find out where they all are just to know."
Fishman will take a bit of a quick bow and say, "It's not what you know, it's who you know."
Good one, Fishman. Very clever.
But also on our way back, we saw a large number of guards actually checking grates. Were any of them, was this particular passageway nearby? Could they be checking them? Or is it not in the general vicinity?
The one near the Waste Management Guild is actually not very far from us. At the current location, it is still a little bit of a walk, but it is not
Right.
far.
Might be worth investigating then.
There is also another entrance that was mentioned in the sewers, but potentially the better option would be through the waste management system.
Well, alright then. Sure hope everyone will be fine. This was my only change of clothes. So, when are we going to start wading through all this?
Well, I mean, firstly, we need to make sure that we have all the information. So, what did you find in your expedition? Spelunking through the great libraries of this plane.
Oh, yes. Well, we sort of investigated a little bit more about this character, and I don't know if any of you will remember, but he seems to have a bit of a tie. He's been seen more frequently since that god thing that happened. You know, with the rifts about 16 years ago. 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧, I think it was. Well, apparently X has been seen more frequently since then, and typically around where those rift sites were, so potentially where the barriers were thinner, is what the magician that was writing the paper I read was sort of theorizing. But yeah, sort of like a bunch of different sightings, more and more frequently, but beyond that, before then, haven't heard very much about him. He sort of doesn't seem to be noted as much as his, well, you know, that man that became a god, Conrad, back in the day, so... Yeah, seems to also have, I think they mentioned lots of dark arcane knowledge and all that, but that's pretty obvious considering what happened. Do you think that would be tied with your vision? He doesn't sound like a very safe individual regardless, so it would be worth investigating. And if your visions are true, then it is a very bad thing indeed that he's more active now.
I believe there is some great element of truth in my visions. We should not blindly follow everything, but it at least gives us a starting point. I think this creature, this 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧, is intending to open a gateway, which, whether he wishes or not, will combine those of the divine plane to the material. Whether or not he intends that, it must be stopped.
Indeed, if that is correct, if that is what is happening, then it is greater than even the problem of the Isles that we are currently facing. Not all gods are good. Not all gods are evil, but they belong in the places they currently dwell for a reason.
Just salute. No, he needs to be stopped.
There is also potential if we can't find him in our actual spelunking expedition into the Underdark. We just have to look for places where those barriers opened up. Because he's either set things up there, he'll be there, or his other pal or enemy will be there. I found out about a guy who either hates Conrad or loves him, and I don't know which one it is because it's very, very vague. But it's someone to look out for is like an undead guy named Ed.
Man named Ed. What is this Ed?
𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧, but we can call him Ed for short. I think it's probably close.
I think Ed is probably, yes. 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧 is probably lost in translation.
Curious.
Beyond that, our pal Conrad has many enemies as much as he has compatriots. Certainly, we've only met his compatriots so far, but there are people who locked him away a first time. There are probably plenty of people who would be very happy if those barriers stayed closed.
Potential allies, then.
Then, of course, there's that weird girl that keeps claiming they were friends like 100 years ago, so...
Who's that one?
The powerful one, the book one, 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧? I read her book like 10 years ago.
Ah, from the mainland.
From the mainland, yeah. Durham? Durham. All the smart rich people are from Durham.
Wait. The professor?
I don't know what her titles are. I just know she wrote a book, and in it she was like, oh, Conrad was my best friend, and he was my partner's brother or something like that. I think it's all lies, personally.
Interesting.
It's very fun. My ex-captain read it one time too, and she was like, oh, fascinating. That was
Potentially
before.
another lead then.
Maybe.
Well, should we go spelunking then, as it were?
That may
got-
be necessary, yes.
I've got to admit, I mean, we're all taking a bit of a leap of faith here that this is even the right thing to be focusing on, if I'll be honest. But I trust you, so we shall do this.
Perhaps we travel tomorrow morning. It has gotten very late somehow, and there is potentially more information to find.
So we're going to find another tavern to inevitably destroy, or...
No, I think we might be done with taverns for now. I don't think us going into another tavern would be a good idea. We are starting to make a name for ourselves.
Yes, I would agree with that one.
Though none of you have anywhere to stay tonight.
Oh, unless you keep some bunk beds in, like, your magical orb.
What do
I
you have
definitely-
in mind? Sorry. Say your line again, Drew.
I definitely don't have much space where I live. Only enough for one, really.
I'm sure we could bunk up next to Rat. Loretta and I don't take up much space.
No, I'm very small.
Yay, but he kind of looks at Janice as everything.
He just grins down at Alton.
I don't know. Nervous, do you have any alternate arrangements you'd suggest?
Unfortunately not. Perhaps a tavern may be the best course of action for us all.
Well, I mean, it's technically Loretta and myself that are ones without a house, place somewhere to stay, so unless we're all sort of, having a sleepover or something before we go into the...
I'd be happy with a sleepover. We could play Truth or Dare. Do that thing where we levitate each other like a little feather on a wooden board.
What?
What?
Can't say I've heard of that one.
Did none of you have normal childhoods? I didn't think I had a normal one, but even I played those stupid games.
I didn't know.
Okay, well, now you've just made me feel bad.
Darby, is there just a nice-ish tavern nearby that we haven't destroyed yet?
Yeah.
We're ruining the tavern economy in this town.
One by one. Or one that's near the Waste Management Guild.
Near the Waste Management Guild, there is a tavern known as the Divine Spirit. It is considered somewhat crass, particularly by those who are who follow the ways of animancy due to its pun name, drawing on the divine nature of animancy. Because despite people not knowing the origin of animancy, they know of it as a divine influence upon the world. not. It is considered amongst the ranks much similar to many of the lesser divines.
Then that is where we shall go. I can book accommodation for us all. That is near the origin point of our mission for tomorrow. Should we all be decided that is the course of action we should be taking, that will give us some time to rest and prepare.
I suppose so. We must just hope that another tavern does not get attacked during the evening.
Yeah, I'll be honest here, Neris. I feel like most of us are pretty gun-ho. Why do you want to wait a night?
I would like... There are some questions that were raised by the answers that were given today.
What?
I'm doing that thing again where I don't answer any questions. I apologize.
You're
are,
a politician,
yes.
son. Yes.
And you can see Neris is really trying to focus on the words that he's saying. It's very difficult for him to pick out the right words here. We need more information on 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧 and potentially Conrad. You mentioned a name, which I know. I would like to ask them some questions. Does that help?
Certainly is an answer. All right.
To me, I would love to not go down there immediately.
All right then. We bide our time for one more night then.
We prepare. We research. Neris is
Janice just like nods, but he looks quite stony. But he's sort of like returned to sort of that regimented sort of stance that he does, that he used to do on the Polaris all the time when we were in pirate meetings or whatever. Well, lead the way then.
Follow me. And Neris will start walking. Say, oh, I've not actually been to this tavern before. Does someone know the way?
I know the way. Come on.
Thank you. Follow Lauren.
And
Oh, this does feel good.
on that note, as you head towards the Divine Spirit, that is where we're going to end for this week's episode. Lot of research and progress made towards finding out some answers and working towards the mysteries of where exactly 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧 has absconded to.
See you next week, everyone.
See you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Have a good night, guys. Sorry for listening.
On trade.
If only I'd kept going for like 15 more seconds, we would have avoided the train.
Yeah. Are you gonna honk? Because if it's one of the ones that doesn't honk, I'm gonna feel really bad about pausing.
That's all right. We're about 50 minutes pre-edit.
Distant honk. Distant honk. Okay.
Didn't even got cut. It got cut out by Zoom's audio filtering.
Damn it. All right. Anyway.
Yeah.